okay, we know you're a woman, a very aggressive woman, a poorly behaved woman, and now you're going to throw your vagina at Ben. I mean, like at some point, ma'am.
At first,
can men get pregnant?
Men cannot get pregnant.
Okay, awesome. So
Definitionally.
Okay. Do men experience SA? Sexual assault?
Sure.
Got it. What about the existence of trans men?
What about the existence?
Right.
Do you mean women who believe that they are men? What are we talking about here? Women experiencing gender dysphoria?
So my other question is, do you benefit from white supremacy in any way, shape, or form?
I'm going to need more specifics on what you mean by white
Well, here, let me
supremacy.
give it to you then.
Sure, please.
So I'm a transgender man.
Okay.
I've experienced SA.
All right,
Okay.
stop it
And
right here.
abortion
Stop it right
rights
here. Stop it right
affect
here.
me.
So, all right. So, first off, that is a woman.
Mhm.
I knew it as soon as she said
oh,
that.
absolutely.
Okay. But did you see Ms. Shapiro's face when she turned around the chair? So all of the she had to come up. She had to come up with it, and she had to turn the chair around and sit in it like she got a
Yeah.
penis in between her legs, and she had to squat open like, "Oh, you're gonna see my invisible penis, whether you like it or not." And then, and Ben is looking at her like,
What's going on with
"What
you,
are you?"
lady?
Yeah,
Right.
but
What's
you
your
could tell
problem?
he was a little alarmed because we know he's had a situation with a trans person in the
Mhm.
past where they tried to fight him.
Well, no,
What are
no.
your genetics?
So I'd stay away from the genetics and back to the brain scans.
You cut that out now, or you'll go home in an ambulance.
Yeah, that seems mildly inappropriate for a political discussion.
No,
And this woman is pretty big.
Well, she threatened him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he's been brushing up on his cough McGraw. I think he could take her.
That was a few years ago. That
Right,
one. Yeah.
right. You
I
remember
think
that?
he's in a better
Yeah.
place now. Yeah.
So what do you guys think so far?
First of all, now, granted, I know this was Jubilee, and I know this was, for the screen, if you will. The first thing that came to my mind was, why waste your time debating delusional people? I mean, it's pointless. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Ben. I'm not saying that he should not have done this, but in the average day, why waste your time? I'm not going to. I'm not going to sit here and quote unquote argue back and forth with a dick pretending to be a chick or vice versa.
What I saw so far was a very angry woman whose medication is too strong. Her testosterone level is like right on up in here, and her level of aggression is because that's what she thinks men do.
Mhm.
The truth is, men don't behave that way
No.
unless they're threatened.
Yeah.
Alpha
generally-
males certainly don't.
No.
Oh, of course. First
Well,
of all,
I want to continue. Here we go. Let's continue on.
Indirect.
Look at the hair and the beard.
So if we're talking about the American dream that you live,
So-
why don't I have access to that? Because there's no legislation, in the history of America, that legislates a man's body, so why does mine have to be legislated? I've got a vagina.
I'm not interested in what your genitalia are.
Clearly you are. I mean, it's all over everything you make, buddy. I'm sorry. I hate to say it
Stop
to you,
right
but
here.
I
Stop
can
it
see right
right
on my
here.
face that I'm
so first of all, Ben is like,
like what the hell? I know. Like what?
oh my God.
This is scary in a lot of ways.
But it is indicative of who
I've
these
got a
activists
vagina.
are. Okay, we know you're a woman, a very aggressive woman, a poorly behaved woman, and now you're going to throw your vagina at Ben. I mean, like at some point, ma'am.
At first he said, "Can men be sexually assaulted?" But then he says he has a vagina. Well, I mean, it's just all over the place.
Here's the thing. The best question he asked was about the American dream. Why can't I have the American dream? Well, you picked your dream.
Exactly. You picked a nightmare.
Your dream. You chose to pretend to be a man. And here you are flexing on a man who's trying to have an intellectual discussion with you, further proving that you are not a man, right? I don't care how much you slam the chair and throw your vagina on the table, lady. This is not what men do. This is not appropriate behavior. And poor Ben, when he, she, they, them, what I don't know the pronouns, when that being said vagina, Ben's face was
He's like disgusting.
he's like, what?
He was like he was
there.
shocked. I mean, in a way, shocked. This another thing for for all of the real men, the men who actually have dicks and are thankful and glad and okay with having one, and the women who have vaginas and breasts and we're okay and glad about that, we need more of us to put a stop to this.
Yes.
To stand up. We need more of us to say, no, you're not a man. You're not a woman. You're just not. We can appreciate that you may have dysphoria. We can appreciate that you want to wear the opposite clothes, transvestite. We can appreciate all that. But you are not going to claim that you are one or the other like I am. And then on to add the icing to the cake, tell me that, what do they say? What is it? I'm a cisgender no. We need more of us to stand up and say no.
Yeah,
that's
right.
Right.
Let's continue on here.
Radically, I'm not. I think you can read on my face that I radically am not. When we're talking about
No,
abortion,
I mean, you can present it here, but in most of the content that you have, you attack my community constantly. And you don't even realize guys like me exist, who actually share a lot of similarities to you.
No.
And everything, because I'm a married man of 20
you
years.
don't.
Got
I
a wife.
recognize that you exist. I disagree with your
Right,
claim
so
that you
if
are a
I
male.
was sexually assaulted, right, and I didn't have access to that abortion care,
it?
do you believe that I should have carried that child to term because
What does
I
this
was
have to-
sexually assaulted?
I mean,
No, I just want to make
Finish,
sure
he's
that that's
confused.
what you believe. Because as a transgender man, I have seen your side of the entire political debate, never ever having the conversation of what an American freedom is. Because why am I not allowed to live my American freedom as a man? You know, I mean, you get your choice as a man to live and free and all that.
You're really moving around terminology
Yes.
very wildly here.
And so are you, because that's the tactics you play in your game.
I'm
And
gonna
you've
need
done
you-
it the entire time.
I'm
You've
gonna-
jumped from one subject to the next. You speak so fast, and I know how you work. So how does it feel to have it in your face?
Another man.
well, I mean,
Because I'm sick and tired of the shit that you have put against my community, especially black trans women. Because you constantly disregard all of our needs and then use us politically as a pawn when we're 1% of the population. Why not focus on the economy itself? All of us are struggling, and you
is
want to
he
focus on
talking
trans
about?
people.
God
You want
only
to focus on a black woman when this is clearly a glass cliff situation. America's falling apart, and let's give it a woman right when it's all falling apart. When we had, 50 men run it, and it looks like shit? Look at where we're at.
Like
Truly,
you're not a
where do you
man.
think that we're heading? I
So-
mean, it's so funny to watch
You've been going
white
for-
supremacy
Yeah,
just fall
I
apart
would just
the way
let-
that
right.
it is, and you ride so hard. Because guess what? In other countries around the world, women are not having children. And why is it?
Yes, they
because
are.
of the patriarchy and all the violence that men perpetuate, and all of this idea that abortion is somehow going to solve it all by forcing women
First he
to have
said women
abortion
not
instead
having
of focusing
children,
on the
he says
real
abortion is somehow-
problems
what
that
is
we're
he talking
facing in our
about?
She is on
society.
her
We're just
period,
going to
or
completely
she-
ignore that, and we're just going to go,
Right,
you know what?
she-
The line item
He is
is, let's make women
menstruating.
have
That's what
babies so
I
that
was
we
done
can
with Ben.
continue
Just
this
sit there and look at him.
capitalistic society that we have. Why are we doing that? What? I mean, why? Because you want to push white supremacy and because you want to
Oh,
make your
Lord.
check? It does great
That's
for
all
you.
you can do.
Meanwhile,
That's all you-
people like me
exactly.
have to live with the
Exactly.
consequences of all of your rhetoric that you put on a daily basis. And including my entire community.
Listen,
And
a
the
little well-being
intersectionalities
should
of black
straighten that out.
That's what I
women,
was do, Ben. Just sit
men
there
that experience
eventually.
SA, trans people, everyone that comes in. And I'm so sick of the idea that you can come in with this bravado, that you're this big guy that knows things because you can talk fast, you have statistics. But really, what does it really matter
that's
at the
what
end
it's
of the day?
about.
You are
Stop
harming
it right
the
here.
entire American.
Stop it right here. So it says,
What is on that
she
guy's
said,
hat?
first of all, we clearly, as a woman right here, as me, with 3 women on the stage, I can clearly tell you that she is PMSing. So she's already told us she has a vagina. She's
information.
PMSing, and she's just all over the place. This
All
woman
over the
has
place.
talked about abortion. That she talked about low population across the pond in other
I
countries.
don't-
White
Talked about
supremacy.
white supremacy.
The economy.
I mean, he's a man, but then he has a vagina. I told you. I mean, I would be like Ben did at the end. Just sit there and let her run and ramble because there's no need. There's no point to argue with someone who's that delusional.
Yeah.
That, not arguing is one thing, but allowing them to get away with it is something different. And this is where right thinking people have got to stand up. Ma'am, I'm sorry that you don't, feel like you've gotten your American dream, but you've made choices. And America has allowed you to make those choices. And if you are unhappy with those choices,
Change.
change them. The same way that you believe that you can change your gender by simply putting on clothes and putting a little bass in your voice, is the same energy you should take into fixing all the things that you think are wrong in your life. The American dream doesn't wait for you. You got to go get it, right? Don't bring up Black women. Leave us out.
I don't even know how they came into the.
I don't know how either. I was like, is he Black? Is she Black? Girl, don't be dragging us into your shit. Don't do that. No. Mm-mm.
I think it's almost done here. Let's continue on.
Well, this guy's been accused of rape. Trump. In like court documents, and you're backing the guy. Like you have children. How could you do that to your own? Don't you have a daughter? Like, what is wrong with you, dude? I've never seen such a party just completely like the American idea, what we believe in as a country, is not what you're perpetuating. It's diversity. It's giving you tired, hungry, and poor. The Google phone you have in your pocket is because of all of the diversity we've had. Pleasure to meet you.
Oh my God!
That's something a woman would do.
That's a bitch move.
That's exactly.
Yes, exactly.
That's something a woman would do. A woman would definitely do that.
All right, that's good.
A woman would definitely do that.
Yeah. I mean, this is just a caricature of a man. Nice meeting you. No. This is stupid.
Do you know, it's so immature.
Yeah.
Like the entirety of the conversation was every rant they've always wanted to say while they sat at home in their little hovel and watched Ben Shapiro videos. If I ever have a chance, I'm going to tell him this. You're not even having a conversation. This is a monologue at this point.
Exactly.
That's where you, Jimmy Kimmel, let me finish. Ask me a question and let me give you an answer.
And we know that that's what a woman would do because we're all women.
Right. When they hit that last nerve and you've been meaning to say something.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
And guess what?
But we wouldn't do it that way. That is a unhinged woman.
Right.
Yes.
That is a woman with mental illness.
Right. But I'm saying, but real women, that's what we do. And guess what? Real men know, and I would still say we love them and they love us because we understand each other's, I guess, language, if you will. That's what it is. But this is ridiculous. I mean, delusional.
Yeah.
Delusional.
You should have asked her if she wanted tacos. Do you want tacos and margaritas? Come on, let's go get some tacos and margaritas.
Yeah, well, and what she said was one thing she said was truthful. Is how Ben was sitting there, you know, like a big guy. He's not that big of a guy, but just sitting there, calm, cool, collected, and not really giving her what she wanted, which was a reaction. And this is what masculine energy does. Masculine energy would not have met her and went all crazy and things like that. He did what a man does.
Exactly.
Just let her go
what
off.
a man does to a woman when a woman is going off. You just like, you know what? You let her have her moment, whatever, and whatever. That's what you're right. Exactly. That's what alphas do. I love an alpha.
Yeah.
Look, and then we go for tacos and margaritas.
Exactly.
Yeah, and this is
we
why
better on the back end.
And this is why there's no such thing as changing your biological sex.
Exactly.
Gender was created right here. The first time the name gender, or the term I should say gender, was used was actually here in Maryland. By a man, a doctor named, what was it, John Money?
I forget.
I think it was John Money.
Money or Mooney, something like that. Yeah.
In 1955, he's considered the father of gender theory. Money is thought to have sexually abused his minor patients, and he is responsible for the disastrous sex change surgery performed on a boy who had suffered a botched circumcision. Money had promised the parents of the boy that gender was entirely a social construct or creation, and that their son would be fine if he cut off his testicles, gave him estrogen, and they raised him as a girl. That boy wasn't fine. He committed suicide at 38 years after reverting to living as a male. So this is what they have based all of their woke philosophy and pseudoscience on this. And it was something that was done that was really, it was demonic. It was crazy.
You know, they did a whole Law and Order episode about that. The interesting thing is that he said it, and you read it out, a theory.
Right.
This is not the whole thing when we talked about cisgendered and being a cis woman and all of that foolishness. You know, we diverge immediately because they say the gender you were assigned at birth. You weren't assigned a gender. You were born male or female.
Right. Well, now they're teaching, even in school, they're teaching again that gender is a social construct and that it's higher than biology. So now they're telling students, whether from K on up to college, that your biology, your biological sex does not matter. It's the gender that matters. And they're rolling with this. And this is why we're seeing so many issues with our children.
And therein, I was going to say, therein lies the problem, which is why I like to say sex. There's a difference between sex and gender. I don't interchange the two, or at least I try not to, but sex, the word sex in this biological sense, male, female, XX, XY chromosomes was used up until I think in the mid 80s, if I'm not mistaken. So, somewhere in the mid 20th century. But that's why I think people get confused. We use those words interchangeably, and it's not. Their gender is different. I still say sex, and particularly even more so today in these circumstances. I think it's important ever more so that we use sex to be clear. You are a female, you are a male, you have, male genitalia, you have female genitalia, XX, XY, things like that. Sex is the biological term. Gender is the social or sociological, social theory, psychosocial terminology, concept, construct. And that's where the change really started to come in existence.
But then they're putting gender above.
I know. That's why it's up for us. It's up to us to make it be what it's supposed to be. Say what it's supposed to say. Sex.
Right. And one of the things we talked about this when we talked about the script's spelling bee too, is that you see Merriam-Webster playing with language. We have got to stop allowing them to invent words. Ben's face when this woman says, do you think a transgender person can be essayed? I'm like, essayed? And his look was my look, and then he looked across the table at her, and then she goes, "Oh, sexually assaulted."
Right.
Just like, okay, so then say sexually assault. We've gotten to a point where we're allowing them to frame the argument by playing with the words.